As we wait to learn the new name of Washington's NFL team, other professional sports franchises are facing calls to change names considered racist towards Indigenous people. With more, we're joined by Signa Dom-Shanks. She's a professor of law and Indigenous governance at York University. Welcome to Your Morning.
Good morning, Emery.
Well, despite Washington's name change, there is still another NFL team, Kansas City, that makes reference to Indigenous people. There are Major League Baseball teams, Atlanta and Cleveland. And in the NHL, there is Chicago. Here in Canada, Edmonton's CFL team all reference Indigenous names. They are also prominent in collegiate sports as well. So why do teams need to change their names, regardless of context, which is often the argument of why to keep the names? Why do they need to change now?
Well, I'm all about context, Anne-Marie. I'm trained as a lawyer and a historian, so that's one of my favorite words to bring up. What I also like to think about for context, though, is you have to give genuine context that gives the whole scene. And so it's not just about giving one perspective for that time or a slice of the past, it's that whole part of it. And so what I like to think about for these names is, at the time the team started, how was that word used in other circles? And who are the people connected to that word? And was that concept ever a slur? So as much as we like to talk about the beginnings of a team and how some celebrated the use of the term, we also have to think about how that term was used to describe people at that same time as well.
Yeah, not just who was using, but how it was received by those who it was referencing.
Exactly. You got it.
Edmonton CFL team continues to face a lot of pressure to change their names. This is coming from fans and now from sponsors. The team has already lost a major sponsor in Boston Pizza, Bel Air Direct, also threatening to cut ties. So if public and corporate pressure don't end up being enough, and for now the team has said, they've done their due diligence, they've checked with the community, they aren't planning to change the name for now, are there legal avenues that can be pursued?
Well, here's my other professional hat. A colleague of mine and I have looked into, for example, folks talking about using the Charter of Rights. And, we've always heard of that concept coming up with people before when a problem happens. That pertains to public space. And there's also human rights legislation, which helps us think about private spaces and places of employment and sort of entertainment as sort of a tool to use. But as much as lawyers like to help people fight for their rights, I also like to think that lawyers help solve problems or prevent problems. So what I like to think as far as words and names that do cause harm is to think about, can we have some kind of policy in place where we work or where we volunteer that acts as a type of proofread or sort of check on things that we're going to assign, interview questions we're going to ask, billboards that are going to be put up, products that we're going to sell, and that we have some type of stage in advance of those moments happening so that we catch these situations that could be considered questionable and could have someone say some harm is happening. Because that's the thing about this kind of harm, Anne-Marie, is, we've all, I think more and more of us have heard the term implicit bias. Those who are demonstrating implicit bias don't notice it. It takes someone else. So the really handy thing about having a stage where we sort of very thoroughly look for the impact of things is we catch that bias before it goes out in the open.
Signa Dom-Shanks, great to have your perspective on this ongoing conversation. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Anytime. Thanks so much.
Thanks for watching. If you like this, be sure to subscribe here.
And you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.